man who lived two lives. The strange story of William West and Will West. Imagine walking into a prison, being told you're already there. No, not that you're supposed to be there, but that you're already locked up. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi film, right? Well, in 1903, a man named Will West found himself in exactly that situation. This is the true story of two men so alike. They baffled the criminal justice system and helped revolutionize how we identify people today. In 1903, Will West was arrested and brought to Leavenworth Penitentiary, a maximum security prison in Kansas. Back then, prisons didn't have the sophisticated technology we use today to identify criminals. Instead, they used something called the Bertillon system, or Bertillonage as it was known. The Bertillon system was introduced in the late 1800s by a French police officer named Alphonse Bertillon. It was considered revolutionary at the time. The idea was simple. Everyone has slightly different body measurements. Bertillon believed that by measuring things like the length of a person's arms, the width of their head, and the distance between their eyes, you could create a profile that would be unique to each person. Before fingerprinting became standard practice, Bertillonage was used to identify repeat offenders and maintain prison records. And it seemed to work, until one fateful day in Leavenworth. When Will West was processed at the prison, the clerk noticed something strange. According to the records, Will West was already in prison. His body measurements and even his mugshot were an exact match for a man who had been locked up earlier, someone by the name of William West. The clerk was confused. The measurements were nearly identical. The photograph matched. Was this some sort of mistake? Or was Will West lying? Was he actually the same man who was already serving time? The answer? Both yes and no. Will West was not the same man as William West. They were two completely different people, but they were almost identical in appearance and had virtually the same body measurements. This led to a shocking discovery. The Bertillon system wasn't foolproof. It couldn't distinguish between two unrelated individuals who looked so much alike. But the real question remained: how could the justice system tell them apart? This was where an emerging technology came into play: fingerprinting. The idea of using fingerprints to identify individuals wasn't completely new. Fingerprinting had been used in ancient Babylon and China for legal purposes. But it wasn't until the late 19th century that modern forensic fingerprinting was developed. In the 1880s and 1890s, British scientist Francis Galton and police officer Sir Edward Henry created a system to classify fingerprints, proving that no two people had the same prints. By the early 1900s, fingerprinting had started to gain traction in Europe, but it wasn't yet widely adopted in the United States. That was about to change. The Leavenworth Penitentiary decided to try out this new method of identification. Both Will and William West's fingerprints were taken and compared. And finally, they had their answer. The fingerprints of Will West and William West were completely different. Despite their nearly identical appearance and matching measurements, their fingerprints revealed the truth. They were two separate individuals. This moment changed everything. After the West case, prisons and law enforcement agencies across the United States quickly adopted fingerprinting as the primary means of identification. The Bertillon system, once considered groundbreaking, was soon abandoned. Fingerprinting became the new standard for criminal identification, and it still is today. What's fascinating is that fingerprinting not only solved the immediate problem at Leavenworth, but it also revolutionized criminal justice around the world. Fingerprints became a reliable and unique identifier, used to solve countless crimes and free innocent people from wrongful accusations. Today, we take this technology for granted. From unlocking your phone to identifying criminals decades after a crime, fingerprinting has become an essential tool in modern life. And it all started because of two men who, by sheer coincidence, looked exactly the same. Since the case of Will and William West, fingerprint technology has advanced dramatically. Today, we use digital fingerprinting systems that can instantly scan and compare millions of prints in a matter of seconds. But the underlying principle remains the same. No two sets of fingerprints are alike. The story of William and Will West is a strange one, but it reminds us that sometimes reality can be more bizarre than fiction. A simple case of mistaken identity led to one of the most important developments in forensic science, a technology that continues to shape our world today. So, the next time you press your finger to unlock your phone, remember, it all started with two men who shared more than just a name. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, be sure to like and subscribe for more stranger than fiction tales. Until next time, keep an eye on the facts and the fingerprints.